This is my presentation on The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. F. Scott Fitzgerald is the author of The Great Gatsby. He grew up really poor in the 1920s, so he grew up in the roaring 20s. He was in love with a rich girl who decided that she could not marry him because he was poor, so he got rich and then they got married. He did, in fact, drop out of college because he thought they did not notice his greatness. After that, he did marry the rich girl whom he loved, Zelda, and he was actually a raging alcoholic, which killed him in his early 40s. His marriage was quite severed. They cheated on each other quite a bit and had quite a interesting vibe. The Great Gatsby is set in the Roaring Twenties. So in the Roaring Twenties, we have Prohibition, which kind of backfired, and now everybody is drinking, even though it is illegal. People's morals are a lot looser, meaning that they do not have as strict rules for themselves anymore. We have a lot of bootleggers who are selling counterfeit alcohol over the counter. People are freely spending money on credit. And then we have this question of the American dream and if people are actually achieving the American dream or if it's all just a ruse and a disguise for a much larger problem, which is a disguise for a much larger problem, as the Great Depression shows. The theme of The Great Gatsby is assumed perceptions have disastrous consequences. The plot of the story. In the beginning, Nick, our main character, he moves to Long Island from the West, Middle West. There he connects with his old cousin Daisy and they have dinner. At dinner, we learn that Daisy's husband is cheating on her and she's very aware of it. We have several parties that we go to throughout the novel. In these parties, we learn about Gatsby himself, who is still in love with Daisy. We also learn about Gatsby's past, Daisy's past, and how that all ties in together. Eventually, Gatsby convinces Nick to have tea with Daisy, and then they reconnect from there. They kind of have a little thing going on, and Tom, Daisy's husband, is quite aware of it once they go to the plaza. And the plan is for Daisy to leave Tom. However, she backs out of that and becomes scared and decides that she wants to leave. Gatsby is obviously very upset. On the way home, Daisy is actually driving Gatsby's car and ends up killing Myrtle, who is Tom's mistress. And Myrtle, now that she's dead, Tom thinks that it was Gatsby, and Daisy lets Tom think that. Okay, the theme is shown in two ways. We have characters of Gatsby and Tom, and the theme is also shown in some conflict, as in Daisy toying with Gatsby and Myrtle's death. So Gatsby is quite naive. He believes that Daisy is going to be with him no matter what. He believes that they can go back to when they were teenagers and repeat the past. He's also very unrealistic. He wants Daisy to say that she never loved Tom, even though they obviously have a history together. They have a kid together, and they've built a life outside of Gatsby, and he's very unaware, and he perceives that Daisy is just going to drop everything and go with him. Tom is, on the other hand, is very aggressive and selfish. Um, he believes that everyone should just bow down and worship him. Now, the conflict. First, we have Daisy toying with Gatsby. So, Daisy's stringing Gatsby along, which makes him perceive that Daisy's going to be with him. We also have false intentions. So, she wants to leave Tom, but then on the other hand, she doesn't actually want to leave Tom. The other problem of Myrtle's death. First, she's running to Tom out into the street to a moving car because she thinks Tom wants to be with her and will leave Daisy, even though we know he will not. We also have Tom's assumption that Gatsby is the one that ran over Myrtle, even though we know he is not. We have the same issues today. We have low morals. Social media has made sure of that. It seems that people are drama becomes more and more complicated the more social media comes into play. And that is the presentation on The Great Gatsby. If you have any questions, please let me know.